Charles Leclerc is on pole for the US Grand Prix. It was so close yet so far for Max Verstappen, as two mistakes on his final lap in qualifying cost him the chance for pole, something we haven't really seen all season. Despite locking up in turn 1, Max found some time around the lap and put in a lap clear of the field by 0.005, only to have it deleted for a very narrow track limits infringement out of the final corner. Max said he knew turn 20 would be a close call because he had to really push for it in the rest of the lap after a little mistake in turn 1. Max's misjudgment meant that a clean run by Charles Leclerc was enough for his third pole position of the season, but Max isn't deterred by the fight on Sunday, saying it will be a bit more fun from the P6 position he ended the session in. Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton will line up P2 and P3 on Sunday's grid, as the McLaren just pipped the upgraded and clearly improved Mercedes to the higher position. Lando had been concerned that McLaren's pace wouldn't carry over from Qatar given the slower nature of the COTA track, but clearly he had nothing to worry about, except for perhaps the pace of the Mercedes that will start alongside him. Lewis said that Mercedes' floor update for this weekend is one of the first upgrades that he's actually felt over the last 2 years, and that it has levelled up the car in all areas. While Lewis was impressed with the car, on the other side of the garage, despite finishing in P5, George Russell said it had been a really challenging day, as he doesn't really know why he's been off the pace despite being able to feel the improvements. George will be using today's sprint to work on why he's having trouble, but feels that it's on him rather than the car. It was a similar story at McLaren, as while Lando was P2, Oscar Piastri could only manage P10 in what he said was not his best qualifying. Oscar had a big moment earlier in the day, managing to expertly keep the car out of the wall with multiple corrections, and according to team principal Andrea Stella, a large wheel spin event compromised his final Q3 lap. Sergio Perez is under pressure to perform, both from himself and the media, as rumours continue regarding his future in Formula 1. On Media Day in Austin, Sergio was forced to rubbish this speculation and said he's just laughing at it as there's nothing he can do and is fully focused on his job. Both he and Christian Horner keep reaffirming that he and the team will honour his contract for 2024, and Sergio said he's 100% confident in this earlier in the weekend. But despite all this, Sergio could only manage 9th in qualifying, a once again disappointing performance in front of a very supportive crowd for the Mexican driver. Sergio put this down to struggling with the balance from low speed to high speed, and even though he'd put in a lot of simulator work since Qatar, he and the team made some changes that probably didn't help them in the way they thought. But qualifying was and is always very tight in COTA, and there was actually only around a 10th between Max and Sergio, who will both be hoping for more in the sprint and the Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo's first qualifying back following his injury was not what he was hoping for, and he'll be 15th on Sunday's grid. Ultimately, Daniel's performance was down to a lack of practice time to get back into the swing of things, with only an hour before qualifying in the sprint format we have this weekend. Daniel says he felt he could have given more, but that it was good to be back and he's glad of having another chance in the sprint. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda just missed out on Q3 today, which he felt would have been possible with a minimal difference in his driving. Yuki was also supportive of Daniel and his feedback on their new update for the weekend, saying he's done a good job and has already given good feedback, which is why they were able to finish in P11 today. Perhaps the biggest shock of the day was Fernando Alonso's Q1 exit, made all the worse by him saying that his P17 finish was the maximum Aston Martin could have asked for. The Silverstone-based team had difficulties all day, and a terrible free practice left them with too many unknowns around their new package, according to Alonso. Lance Stroll had suffered brake issues all morning, but he didn't feel that the lack of running was to blame for his P19 finish in Quali. He said that they just weren't quick enough, but feels that there's definitely an opportunity here on Sunday. Sunday's race will be a thrilling battle between Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes and of course Red Bull, even with Max starting a little bit further back than usual. Who do you think will come out on top? Let us know in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Apex for the latest in the F1 world.